Hello, everybody. I am back at it again. Been an adventurous last couple of weeks. Needless to say, uh, one thing in life you realize everybody's getting older, and God have a way of showing you some things, preparing you for some things, and it's up to you to take heed to it or not. But I guess just a hot minute ago, my dad had called me in the evening time. He had said, "Hey, I had a flat on." Uh, my Suburban that I had gave him. I said, okay, well, I'll come by and I'll fix it. Well, when I got over there, the tire was just totally destroyed. So I was asking Dad, hey, what happened? Well, I had a flat and I drove from one town to the next, but I drove real slow and I got some pretty nice rims on it, and you can't be doing that. And I was like, Daddy, you can't be driving on the rims flat. You're like, well, I drove slow. And the fact that the things that he was saying, it was like, man, that don't sound like Daddy. Daddy, he's never done anything like that. No big deal, but got another tire, got it put on there. And one of the things that hit my mind was, man, Daddy getting up there and his health is not the best, but it's not the worst either. I was like, man, maybe I need to take the keys away from my dad. And, I kind of dismissed it, but not thinking about a lot of other things that had happened in the past. And disregarded it. And then like a week later, he called me. I was at work. He called me in the morning and said, hey, I got oil in a filter. Can you come by and change the oil and filter? I was like, sure. Whenever I get off, I'll give you a call and I'll come by and change it. So I finished work that day and got to the house, got my stuff ready, headed to his house, and when I got there, he wasn't there. So I called, and his wife said he was going to my house. I was like, okay. Well, there's only one way. I mean, you can't miss anybody on that road. It ain't like there's a bunch of people live in the area. And I knew I didn't pass him. So my Suburban is very unique, so you would know it. So call the house. They said he wasn't there. I was like, so I get back to the house and I'm expecting to see him there, and he's not there. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he changed his mind and he was going to do something, went to do something else. Well, hour go by, 2 hours, about 45 minutes. I'm not even thinking about it anymore. I'm doing some other stuff. And about almost 3 hours later, the Walker County Sheriff Department called. I already knew it was something. Something wasn't right. They don't call. And answer the phone and like, hey, we got your dad on the side of the road. He said something about a flat or something like that. I said, okay. And, I load up my truck and trailer. I'm headed that way. And I get there. And he's facing towards Huntsville, and I'll put up a picture right now so y'all can see it. So that's the picture. Said he had a flat. Well, as you can see in the picture, it wasn't a flat. And I asked Dad, I said, Daddy, what happened? Well, 18-wheeler kind of got over in my lane, and I said, okay. So, I'm not mad, but I'm like, what were you doing? And then on the way home, I called my brother and like, hey, yada, 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 because I just left it on the side of the road, because obviously, as you can see, couldn't load it without some help. So called my brother, went back to my house, got the tractor, got my uncle to come with me. We took 2 trucks, took the tractor, loaded it up, got it to the house. But after a while, I got to thinking, and I had questioned him. I said, well, Daddy, what happened? And he said he got lost. Now, we're talking about, it's a straight shot. I mean, it's straight shot from his house. I think it's 2 turns. Daddy, how'd you get lost? Well, it was kind of dark. Well, it couldn't have been dark. And when I left, it wasn't dark. When I made it to his house, it wasn't dark. By the time I made it back to my house, it was getting dark, but he was gone before I got to his house, so it wasn't dark. And then it kind of set in, look, a week ago, you said you should have took your keys because there's some things you've been seeing. And then I got to thinking, he's been gone for over 3 hours and he never called anybody. The sheriff called me to let me know where he was. He never called anybody. I don't know if he didn't have a cell phone. I don't know. But that whole situation, it brought me to this point here. How much faith do you have in God? I mean, I know a lot of people say, oh, you got faith, got faith. Have faith that God's going to do what he says. But then from faith, because, I've been preaching that for a while. But from faith, then it goes to, and I've talked to a couple of people about this here last couple of days, from faith to trust. How much do we trust God? Do we trust God? We have faith that he'll tell us what to do, but when he tells us, do we have the trust to do what he say? And one of the things I thought about was they have that trust fall. When you stand there and you have, 4 or 5 people behind you and you close your eyes and you wrap your hands and you just fall back. It ain't called a faith fall. It's called a trust fall. Do we have enough trust in God to go through with things? And he showed me a week before that happened, look, you need to take them keys away. And I didn't do it. And I actually had to challenge my trust because, I did that. Well, he ain't got nothing to drive. So obviously I did take him away this time. But do we have faith, but do we have the trust that goes along with that faith? And that's a challenge. How much trust do you have in God? You have faith that God's going to do what he say, but do you have trust that you can just fall and know he's going to catch you? Think about that one. And as we know, time, I always talk about time and how short it is. And I seen a deal where a guy was talking about, there was a guy talking to a man and a lady, and he said, if I gave each one of y'all $1 million right now, how would the rest of your day be? Could anybody make you mad the rest of the day if I gave you $1 million? And they were like, oh, no, absolutely not. It wouldn't matter what happened. It's going to be a good day. He said, okay, well, what if I gave you $10 million and you wouldn't wake up in the morning? And they're like, I wouldn't take it. The lady, no, I wouldn't take it. And the gentleman said, so you're telling me waking up in the morning is worth more than $10 million? Everybody ain't gonna wake up in the morning. It's just not gonna happen. So thinking about my dad, cherish the time you have right now. Enjoy waking up, because one day you're not gonna be able to do it. And trust me, it's worth more than $10 million. Morning motivation, more to come.